to answer your question more succinctly, I hope that in the near future, as Mom Jeans develops and as we keep writing music, there won't be the need for two different versions of
Mhm.
anything.
Hmm.
Like the one version will be enough, and like
Gotcha.
you'll get the whole story in the one recording of the song,
Gotcha.
which
So
I think could be exciting.
I guess that taps into what we were going to discuss a little bit later, which is new music.
Oh,
Yeah.
for sure.
Yeah, you want to get into that a little bit,
Talk a
talk
little
as
bit
much as
about
you
it.
can about what you guys may or may not be working on right now, and maybe it just bleeds into what you were just talking about. I don't know.
Yeah. What am I allowed to say? Um, I think I can say we've been writing, and that's really cool. That's really exciting. To provide some context, Mom Jeans is a band that historically has always had a really hard time. And I don't even know why I'm saying Mom Jeans. Like me, I've had a hard time songwriting when we're on tour,
Mm.
when we have other things going on in the pipeline. And Mom Jeans historically has always been a band that is like touring a lot
Mm.
Yeah.
and doing a lot and has a lot of irons in the fire because that's just how we like to operate. And so, with the Best Buds album cycle and with the Puppy Love album cycle, like nothing really got written until somebody told me that I had to like sit down and like finish writing something.
Mhm.
Best Buds just happened to be like the first 10 songs that we actually wrote. Puppy Love happened to be the next 10 songs that we wrote. And with Sweet Tooth, I think that, we were lucky with Sweet Tooth because, well, I mean, not lucky that COVID happened. Obviously, nobody's lucky that COVID happened, but
Mhm.
it was fortuitous in the sense that we really needed time to not be doing anything else
Yeah.
to hone in and learn how to write songs as a four-piece band with four songwriters. And the freedom that our schedules had when COVID happened really allowed us to do that. So, again, like we didn't need to learn how to be able to write like while we were doing things. We would kind of fall into these patterns of like, oh, well, now we have this next, 6 months of time off. So I guess we should really, bear down and finish writing this record. And for the first time in this band's history, we've been like writing music like while we're on tour. We're like jamming during sound check, and like we went to Australia recently with Frank Turner and the Sleeping Souls. It was super fun. It was a really great trip.
Nice.
Only downside of that trip was we were traveling together with
Mm.
them, so we ended up going to the venue at their load time
Hmm.
every
Oh.
day, which if you know you're not the headliner, you need to be there hours after the headliner because there's nothing for us to do because they need to do all their stuff first.
Yeah.
And so most of this like 16-day trip to Australia and New Zealand, we would have about 3 or 4 hours to ourselves, like together in the green room with nothing to do and like nowhere to go really. So we would just like jam and like started writing songs. And I think we wrote like two or three demos just on that trip alone. And like Austin and Bart and Sam have all been on a tear. Like I get a demo in my inbox like probably once a week of something that's better than the last thing that they
Mhm.
sent me, which is really, really cool, and really fun and exciting. So that doesn't really shed too much light on what it actually may sound like, I realize, but
That's
from a
okay.
vibes perspective, it's
Vibes.
The
fantastic.
vibes are there.
Oh yeah.
The
I didn't
vibes are
expect you to get into
there.
the sound, the sonics of it, because like that might give up too much. But whatever you're
I don't
comfortable
think
with.
it will. I mean, I think I can get the point across without revealing too much. I think it's no secret like where our original influences as a band coming from. Like I've said it before, I'll say it again. Modern Baseball is my favorite band, always will be.
Mhm.
Like the Joyce Manners of the world, the Tiger's Jaws of the world,
Yeah.
Title Fight. We could sit here for hours, right? I could just like go on of like all the amazing bands. Like we had a habit, whether it was intentional or not, when we first started making music together, of like really wearing those influences on our
Mhm.
sleeve. Sam and I talk about it sometimes, and I think it comes from jazz band. And like when you're in jazz band and you're learning how to improvise, there's standards in jazz, which are songs that everybody knows how to play. Everybody
Mhm.
knows the melody. Everybody knows the chord progression. And like when we were in high school and you were doing your solo at the jazz festival, like you'd get extra points for like playing a melody from like a jazz standard or something, and like showing that you know that this is the same chord progression, and doing these little nods to those that came before you. And nobody shied away from that. That isn't seen as like ripping things off. Like that's you paying homage. That's you honoring those
Yeah.
that came before you. And I think that while we've never lost that aspect um of music, like from a songwriting perspective, I think that like sonically we've definitely, I mean, clearly with Sweet Tooth, like got a little bit away from like the Midwest emo world,
Mhm.
got a little bit away from the Scrams world, got a little bit away from the Twinkly world, like took a big step towards big choruses, big production, big drums, like
Yeah.
pitch correction on vocals and stuff like that. Like it was shocking for a lot of people, and not everybody's into that. And we did it because that's what we wanted to do, and we wanted to hear what it sounded like when we tried
Yeah.
to do that, and it was fun doing it. But there's also a very big part of all four of us that misses uh I miss the riffs. I miss the twinkles. I miss the crazy Austin drum solos. I miss like I think I feel like as a songwriter, I've proven that I can write a good chorus. I've proven that I can write a good song. I've proven that I can write a nursery rhyme that gets stuck in your head and that you're going to remember.
Mhm.
Hmm.
Now with this album, I really just want to entertain people,
Hmm.
like in an ADHD sort of way, almost like where you have to be paying attention and you have to be engaged. Otherwise, you're going to miss what is going on here. And I think that we've always in some songs had certain elements of that. We've always nodded to our influences and try and like we'll go more off the rails sometimes with certain songs than others. But I think like really doing our due diligence this time around with our next LP and trying to write songs um that don't ramble, that don't have a lot of extra nonsense in them, that are very direct and very straight to the point, um but also are just packed with content. You're not, there's not really a whole lot of time where you're just establishing a groove or like establishing a tonality, or just like, okay, dude, like we heard the riff one time, we get it. Like you don't need to do it four times. It's a good riff. And
Yeah.
kind of learning how to edit yourself
Mhm.
and how to power pack your music with just like a ton of content and a ton of musicality. And I think that that's something that we've never consciously tried to do before. It was more of like uh a self expression type thing, like just wanting to have a space and wanting to have a voice in this space and wanting to contribute. And um it feels really good, and we talk about it a lot. We feel like really fortunate to like have had the experiences that we have and have it be like have it be informing this kind of like zone that we're landing in now. And it's really cool and really neat. And I can't tell y'all how awesome it is to like have four people like kind of independently come to that conclusion like on their own, and like how good that feels when you like realize that like everybody's kind of like on that same vibe and feeling the same thing. It's
Yeah.
really cool and really exciting. So I think that we are, we're doing this tour in February, which is going to be really fun. Or not February, in March. That's going to be really fun. That's going to be really cool. We're really looking forward to it. And then after that, like our goal is really just like put our nose to the grindstone and finish up, whatever demos we have, and start thinking about where we want to make the next album and who we want to make it with and when it might come out and stuff like that, which is cool. And we feel ahead of the curve too. Like we already have like tons of demos, we have tons of songs in the pipeline, which is really, really exciting.